Hello everybody, it's Super Allocations E.V.A here, and the concept for today's video is interesting because it's based on this TikTok challenge that was going on for a while, and I'm very late too. You might have already seen it, but basically the challenge is to make a monster character based on features about yourself. I'll play the video now, if this is the original one. I hope it is. So, real awkward. I couldn't find the original video anywhere. There's some that I kind of thought were the original, but then I saw videos predating those ones way back in 2020, so I don't know where the original is. So I'll just show you the beginning of the TikTok I made so that you can understand the requirements. Yeah.
Make the skin color your favorite color. The eye color the color of your birthstone. The hair color should be the color of your shirt. If you wear glasses, add a third eye or just another set of eyes. If your favorite animal has horns, add horns. Or if they have wings, then add wings. If you wear earrings, add those. And everything else is really up to you. Oh, and if you happen to be an artist, draw your monster.
So yeah, that's the concept, and I'll be going over my process of me making my monster. However, you'll notice I didn't just make one monster. You'll see what I mean in a moment. But for now, sit back and enjoy my rambling. Also, one more thing, future me again. So the video you're seeing right now, the speed paint that's playing right now, is not the speed paint of the current picture I made. I actually tried doing this challenge a while back, but I ended up forgetting to post it anywhere, and it had been a while, so I decided to redraw it, but I ended up never recording that redraw, so that's great. Here's the original footage. Yeah, so if you're wondering why this is still in Mini being paint, even though I've been using Clip Studio Paint for a while now, that is why, and also why my art does look slightly different, why the anatomy is all different. It's just from a while ago. The design and everything else is still exactly the same. I just am dumb and didn't record the redraw of it. I will show you the redrawn version of this picture at the end of this section. So yeah, I'm sorry for that. I'm just really dumb. Anyway, back to the video. So based on the challenge details, the skin tone of my monster is pink, since that's my favorite color. Although I went with a nice dusty pink color just because I thought that fit a skin color better. The hair color is a dark blue, since that was the color of my shirt I was wearing, and the eyes are light blue since my birthstone is aquamarine. The colors actually ended up as a nice palette, which I'm really happy with. One thing you'll notice immediately is that the eyes aren't exactly placed on the face. This is because I had a really cool idea of, instead of just placing the eyes on the face, I'll have them be floating eyes. I feel like this adds a bit of uncanniness to this design, and maybe a bit of weirdcore. Is this weirdcore? I don't know. I'm like that one meme whenever there's something weird in design. Is this weirdcore? I don't know. However, since I have no glasses, it's just two eyes. For the animal, although it's not my all-time favorite, but it is one of mine, I chose a goat. This allowed me to give the characters some goat-like horns. I don't have earrings, so they don't have any earrings either. And that was all the rules, and everything else was up to me. So like I said, I made their eyes floating, but I also decided to give them sharp teeth and a forked tongue, which adds onto the slightly creepy feel. And I just wanted to make a character with a forked tongue because I've never done that before. I wasn't sure what to do with the hair at first, but I went with this fluffy hairstyle, since that's always fun to draw for me. Now, because this is a monster character, I gave them a lot of different features that I don't usually give to characters. These include the symbols, the weird fur bits on their limbs, some pointy fingers, and a little tail. To keep the palette cohesive, I drew the symbols in the same color as the eyes, and used the hair color for the gradient on the limbs. I also gave them a almost harness thing for their clothes, although I don't think these can count as clothes, but it adds on to the non-human feel. They don't need clothes, they're just chilling. vibing. One other thing I tried to do throughout the design is to use the same line through circle, like the same line through circle symbol. I don't know if this actually means anything, if it's like an actual symbol for something, but I thought that it would give them an almost demonic look this way. Now, after hearing all of this, you might think that this is a scary or dangerous character, maybe one that likes to cause mischief or does villainous things. But no, this character is actually quite the opposite. I imagine them to be a very bubbly and naive character, that's very curious about things around them and can get in trouble, but not on purpose. I like making characters that seem scary, but are actually just cinnamon rolls, or vice versa. It's characters that look like cinnamon rolls, but want to eat you. So making the personality and story of this character was also fun. For their story, I imagine that they live in an odd dimension where maybe other creatures like them live, and where everything's just a little weird and uncanny, and is watched over by another character, which I'll talk about shortly. And that's all I have for this character. I decided to name them Lucid after lucid dreaming. You might find that as a theme here, but yeah, I really liked making this character. It was super fun, and I was pleasantly surprised that the challenge, the things that I had to do for the challenge, ended up making a really cool combination of things. So yeah. So after making Lucid based on the challenge in the original TikTok video, I thought about making another monstrous character. So I thought, let's do this again, but this time, instead of the features being based on myself, this character's features will be based on random generators for the same things. The animal, for whether it has horns or wings, the two colors for the skin and hair, and the gem that the eyes will be based on. So first I found a random animal generator, and among the options I got a deer. I thought this was perfect since it would allow me to add some cool antlers. Next was a gemstone generator, and among these was a sunset opal, which I must say are just beautiful. Might have found my new favorite gem. I just can't resist anything that has a good sunset colors palette, you know. And finally, the two colors for the skin and hair, which ended up being these colors. With that, I actually made a rough sketch of these options in my sketchbook and then went to do the artwork. So I had a very different idea for this monster than I did my last one, specifically for the artwork, where with Lucid I gave them a sort of demonic look with the design and artwork. This time I wanted to play with the biblical angel vibe with this one, so you know, cool parallels there. So for the design, I wanted to give them a much more powerful look, so I drew them in this sort of angelic pose. I actually imagined this character to be quite tall, so that would kind of add on to that feeling. I actually imagined Lucid to also be pretty tall, maybe like 6'3" or 4 or something, but this character would be like even taller, like maybe 7 or 8 feet tall. That'd be really tall. But yeah, I of course gave them some deer antlers, but for some of the other monstrous aspects of them, I gave them one eye with no other facial features, no arms, and floating hands, and I wanted to give this character a water drop theme, so I gave them some drop-like markings on their body, a tail with those drops on the end, sort of like I did with Lucid, and drops coming out from their arms. You'll notice that a lot of these elements are similar to Lucid's design, and that's because I imagine they are both a similar kind of monster, but not exactly the same, so there are still some key differences. With their hairstyle as well, I wanted it to be much sharper, so I found this hairstyle from Pinterest, which I think might be from a game, and based it off of that. I also gave them this loincloth type of thing for their, again, quote-unquote clothes. When I got to filling in the base colors, I was a little nervous that the colors wouldn't look as good together as it did with Lucid, but luckily I think the colors ended up well, especially with the shading. Shading their eye was super fun since I wanted this gallery to look like a sunset opal. I used a lot of blending modes like glow dodge, and because it's sunset, I also added a little bit of purple. I mainly used the airbrush, but I also used a hairbrush for a little bit of gloss at the very end, almost like a subtle shiny gloss. And I kept their pupil really simple by just adding a glowing slit thing for the pupil. Again, just to make it a little simpler and to not draw attention away from the beautiful scaleras, because I think that ended up really cool. I'm really happy with how the eye turned out. And I'm also really happy that I only had to worry about one eye for this one. And for the rest of the shading, I went about it a little differently than how I normally would and tried to make it look more smooth and shiny. And I think that worked really well, especially with the hair. Drawing the hands in general was really interesting. I don't like drawing hands, but these ones weren't too bad. I think maybe it's because I didn't have to draw them like super like anatomy accurate, because it's a monster character, it wouldn't be super and like human anatomy accurate. So yeah, the background was where the angelic look was really going to come from. So I got a lot of reference of artworks with this halo thing surrounding the character. I've seen a lot of artworks that do this, and I really wanted to try it. I ended up with this weird spear thing design that I copy and pasted it until it ended up in a circle and added some more circles. So I think the halo thing worked pretty well like this. I also added a bit of faint clouds and some faint shapes and faint hand silhouettes to kind of allude that this character can have even more hands than they're showing now. And I was debating whether to add this, but I decided to add this halo cross thing across their head, and I think it worked pretty well. I'm really happy with how this design and artwork turned out. It was really interesting working with these colors and this concept in general, but I really liked the end product. I imagine this character is a guardian type character and is the one taking care of Lucid, like I mentioned before. They're probably pretty strict and stoic, but is also very loving and protective. I decided to name this character Paralysis. Do you see the sleep thing going on here? That's a thing. And that's all I have to say for this character. This challenge was super fun to do, and I liked taking my own spin on it as well. I really want Lucid and Paralysis to be reoccurring characters, so let me know if you like them and these artworks. I may or may not have even made a rough sheet already for Lucid. I don't know, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, who's to say. I like the idea of their relationship dynamic, so that would be fun to explore as well. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy this video. If you want to try this challenge out for yourself, you can do that. And if you want to try my version of doing it, where I just use random generators, you can also do that as well. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe for more stuff. And these pictures, as well as my other artworks, are on my socials linked below. I have my 2 comics on my Webtoon, so be sure to check those out. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!